know what is the meaning of communication. So, 7 major elements of communication process are sender, ideas, encoding, communication channel, receiver, decoding, and feedback. So, communication may be defined as a process concerning exchange of facts or ideas between persons holding different positions in an organization to achieve mutual harmony. The communication process is dynamic in nature rather than a static phenomenon. So, communication is simply the act of transferring of information. So it is being said here that this process is dynamic. So when we say dynamic, it is changing or it has a progress because many variables can affect this process. We have the sender, we have the ideas, and so on and so forth. That's why it is a dynamic process and not static. Because when we say static, it is unchanged. If there is a change, a little change, but this one is dynamic. And it is being also said here that we need to achieve mutual harmony because it is a communication. So we need to understand each other. We need to achieve mutual harmony or mutual understanding. Communication process as such must be considered a continuous and dynamic interaction, both affecting and being affected by many variables, like what I've said a while ago. So the first variable in communication process is the sender. So when we say sender, the person who it intends to convey the message with the intention of passing information and ideas to others is known as sender or communicator. When we say sender, this is the initiator of the communication, the person who transmit the message, the person who initiate the communication. The primary objective is the sender, its primary objective is to compose and deliver a clear message to the recipient. And also, the sender might be a speaker, a writer, or someone who merely gestures. So that is all about sender. The next one is ideas. This is the subject matter of the communication. This may be an opinion, attitude, feelings, views, orders, or suggestions. So, thoughts. When we say ideas, thoughts, suggestion as to a possible course of action. The next one is, or the third one is encoding. When theoretical symbols, such as words, actions, or pictures. Conversion of subject matter into this symbol is the process of encoding. So when we say encoding, it is translating information into a message in the form of symbols that represent ideas or concepts. Okay po. And then, next is communication channel. So in communication channel, the person who is interested in communicating has to choose the channel for sending the required information, ideas, etc. This information is transmitted to the receiver through certain channels which may be either formal or informal. So the example of communication channels are, for example, written, hard copy, print, or digital formats, oral or spoken, and electronic or multimedia. So, pag sinabi po natin communication channel, it is a matter or method through which a message is sent to its intended receiver. Kung ano yung ginagamit mo para makarating yung message mo to your receiver. So, the next one is receiver. Receiver is the person who receives the message or for whom the message is meant for. It is the receiver who tries to understand the message in the best possible manner in achieving the desired objectives. So when we say receiver, that is the listener. It can be a reader or observer, that is the individual or the group of individuals to whom a message is directed. The receiver is also called the audience or decoder. Number 6, number 6 or decoding. The person who receives the message or symbol from the communicator tries to convert the same in such a way so that he may extract its meaning to his complete understanding. So when we say decoding, it is the process of turning communication into thoughts to take out of code and put into understandable language. So that is decoding. And the second one, and the last one is
Last
feedback.
one is feedback.
Last one is feedback. So when you take out the code and put it into understandable language, that is the time that you're going to give feedback. You're going to respond. Okay? So feedback is the process of ensuring that the receiver has received the message and understood in the same sense as sender meant it. So it refers to a response, feedback response, or yun. And then, yun po, that's all for my report, ma'am.
Okay, so thank you, Ma'am Chaylux, about your topic
Opo.
on the 7 elements of communication channels
Yes.
or the main elements of communication. Yun ang 7 paraan ng ng magagamit natin sa salamuha o pakikipag-communicate sa ating mga kasamahan. There are 7 elements. And the last one is feedback. And the first one is sender. Okay. So there are 7 elements of communication channels. Okay. Any questions from the group? May tanong po ba kayo? Maliwanag ba yung main elements ng communication channel na ibinahagi sa atin ngayong umaga? Is it clear to everyone?
Opo, ma'am.
Yes, kung kayo po ay may
Opo.
tanong, huwag po kayong mahiya na magtanong, ha? Kung may tanong, huwag kayong mahiya. At sasagutin naman kayo ng reporter o sasagutin ko kayo tungkol sa inyong queries o yung inyong not clear to your mind about the topics. Okay, so can we go to the next reporter? Ma'am Camille, are you ready now? Ma'am Camille. Camille Garcia. Where are you, Ma'am Camille? Wala pa si Ma'am Camille? Nakita ko na siya kanina.
Thank you po, ma'am.
Sige. Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you po.
Chaylux, okay, for your topic this morning. Ma'am Camille, before you, can we go to the next? Si Macy Veronica, narito na po kasi si Ma'am Camille second to the last. Siya nakiusap siya kahapon kung pwede siya maaga-aga kasi pupunta pa siya, may gagawin sa school. Okay. Sige na, Ma'am Macy, about communication in the management process. Bago si Ma'am Camille. Sige, start na, Ma'am Macy.
Apo, ma'am, set up ko lang po.
Yes, set up mo na.
Ma'am, okay na po.
Okay na, ma'am. You can start now.
Good morning, Dr. Zon. Good morning, teachers.
Good morning.
I'm Teacher Macy Veronica A. Cabadin, Teacher 1 at Lian National High School. So my topic today is about communication in the management process. So first, let us recall the previous discussion which talks about the communication. What is communication? It is a process of creating and sharing ideas, information, views, facts, feelings, etc. among the people to reach a common understanding. So it is clearly stated that communication is a process that allows people to transfer information onto another individual in different means. We can make it verbally or through words, or it can also be non-verbally transferred or with the use of actions. Its goal is to reach common understanding regardless of our differences. So there are three things that we have to consider when it comes to communication, or shall we say the three components of communication. So these were identified as the sender or communicator, the message, and the receiver. So sender, it generates the message and conveys it to the receiver. He is the source and the one who starts the communication. The message is the idea, information, view, fact, feeling, etc. that is generated by the sender and is then intended to the communicated further. So the communication process wouldn't be possible if there will be no receiver. So the receiver is the person who is last in the chain and for whom the message was sent by the sender. So if ever one of these will be missing, the communication process wouldn't be effective nor successful. So now let us discuss the role of communication in the management process. So there are 6 identified roles. It has been said that communication as a basis of coordination, fluent working,
Networking, basis
the
of
basis of decision
decision
making.
making,
Communication
increases
also increases
managerial
managerial
efficiency,
efficiency,
and then
increases
increases
cooperation and
cooperation and
organizational peace.
organizational peace.
And
Okay.
lastly, communication boosts the morale of the employees.
Book, yes.
All right, so first, communication is the basis of coordination. The manager explains to the employees the organizational goals, modes of their achievement, and also the interpersonal relationships among them. This provides coordination between various employees and also departments. Thus, communications act as a basis for coordination in the organization. So one of the manager's role, ay, so one of the manager's role is to orient the employees with all the matters in the organization. He or she will be the one to promote the friendly environment. All of these things will be possible if the manager can communicate everything well for the better future of the organization. So for example po, sa school in a single department, so there's a project assigned to that certain department. Paano magiging successful yung project na napunta sa kanila? So in order for this to be successful, the department needs cooperation. They can have cooperation through effective communication. So doon po magsisimula ang lahat sa communication kung saan the head teacher or the head of the department will be the one to communicate, orient, and disseminate the information among the teachers. Doon na po papasok yung division of labor once na alam mo na kung ano yung role and responsibility mo with that project. Magkakaroon na po doon ng pagkakaisa or tulungan sa bawat member ng department na kung saan after that cooperation or after that work, magiging successful po yung project na na-assign sa inyo. So next, fluent working. A manager coordinates the human and physical elements of an organization to run it smoothly and efficiently. This coordination is not possible without proper communication. So fluent working, this is somehow connected with the basis of coordination. Dun sa nauna nating role of communication. Bakit po? Kasi po, once that you have good and efficient communication within your group, mayroon kayong cooperation, at the end of the day, magkakaroon kayo ng ma-achieve nyo yung fluent working. Magiging wholesome yung performance ng buong grupo. So when we say fluent working, they can easily move with ease and grace towards their job because they know what they are doing. So the third one, communication is the basis of decision making. So proper communication provides information to the manager that is useful for decision making. No decisions could be taken in the absence of information. Thus, communication is the basis for taking the right decisions. So in the organization, though you are the manager or ikaw yung school head for the school setup, you still need to be open. Open in a way that you understand the thoughts of others. Since you are the decision maker, you still need to get broader knowledge, deeper and different perspectives before you decide. So dito pumapasok yung communication na that if you have that within your organization, you relay information to them and vice versa. So no wonder you can have the right decision. So hindi pwedeng mag-base ka lang sa kung ano lang yung nalalaman mo. Kasi minsan, it's better to hear the side of others. Baka meron silang better perspective
Ideas,
than yours.
yes.
Yes, better idea than yours. Then you collaborate it or you internalize those ideas, saka ka pa lang makakagawa ng decision, which is probably nandun ka sa right decision. Ano po? So, fourth one, increases managerial efficiency. The manager conveys the targets and issues instructions and allocates jobs to the subordinates. All of these aspects involve communication. Thus, communication is essential for the quick and effective performance of the managers and the entire organization. So, managerial efficiency, pag sinabi nating managerial efficiency, it defined as the proportion of the total organization or organizational resources that contribute to the productivity during the managing process. So the higher the higher the proportion, the more efficient the manager is. So in this way, we are estimating the effectiveness of the management process. So dito naman pumapasok na pagtaas daw ng proportion ng managerial efficiency nyo, paggaling ng manager. So, paano po nangyayari yon? Once the manager is open and open with the suggestions of the
Yes.
subordinate, naririnig niya yung side ng lahat, dun po natin masasabi na the management
Effective,
process would be effective. Kasi
Effective,
po,
yes.
hindi
Okay.
lang siya hindi lang siya nagbabase sa kung ano yung kakayanan niya. Sinusukat din po niya yung kakayanan niyang intindihin yung perception ng ibang tao. So yun po. Mahalaga po yun when it comes to the certain organization or department. Kapag tayo ay open sa ating mga kasamahan, so mas maalwan pong gumawa. Kasi po ramdam nyo na nagkakaroon ng pagtutulungan. So lahat pong yun, nag-root lang siya sa good communication. So next, increases cooperation and organizational peace. So the two-way communication process promotes cooperation and mutual understanding among the workers and also between them and the management. This leads to less friction and thus leads to industrial peace in the factory and efficient operation. So kapag ang lahat ay nagkakaunawaan, naiintindihan nila kung ano yung mga roles nila, they
Yes.
can understand the process of the organization.
Yes.
Same as with the co-workers. So, hindi
Yes.
nakakapagtaka na magkakaroon ito ng pagkakaisa and eventually this peace and cooperation will lead to efficient operations and organization success. So, the last one, communication boosts morale of the employees.
Yes.
Good communication helps the workers to adjust to the physical and social aspect of work. It also improves good human relation in the industry. An efficient system of communication enables the management to motivate, influence, and satisfy the subordinates, which in turn boosts their morale and keeps them motivated. So since nabanggit dito na through good communication, nakakapag-adjust ang workers when it comes to the physical and social aspect of work. So, good communication, nagkakaroon din ng good human relation within the workplace. So, lastly, sabi dito, it enables the management to motivate their subordinates, their subordinates or workers. So, paano po na motivate yung mga workers in a certain organization? So, what I'm seeing here is dahil nga may friendly and well-organized management, they get more interested with the job. When it comes to motivation naman po, it is somehow related with the communication na mayroon between the manager and the subordinate, kung saan manager will provide feedbacks. So dito pumapasok yung feedback, kagaya ng meron tayo sa school. Yun na lang po yung mainstream na meron tayo para ma-relay natin sa bata kung ano yung ating mga comments or ano yung compliments na mayroon tayo para sa kanila. Through feedbacking, nagkakaroon tayo ng good communication with our students. Nasasabi natin na, oh, you did a great job on that activity. Kung mayroon naman silang kulang, maaari din nating i-relay sa kanila. So those feedbacks is meant for motivating the students, same as giving them enough interest when it comes to their responsibilities as a student. So, ganun din po siya when it comes to workplace. Yung ating school head, nagbibigay din yan ng compliments. Then, tayo naman po as workers, as teachers, we are taking those feedbacks as a motivation para po mag-strive harder on our part. Ano po? So, yun na po, sabi natin dito, he or she will give compliments and sooner or later, it will keep the workers motivated, interested, and inspired every day. So, again po, the communication in the management process identified 6 roles. First, the basis of coordination, fluent working, the basis of decision making. Communication also increases managerial efficiency, cooperation, and organizational peace. And lastly, it boosts morale of the employees. So all in all, communication is one of the greatest recipe in the management process because its success and effectivity comes from good communication. So please allow me to end my report with this quotation of Dan Oswald. Communication must be hot, that's honest, open, and two-way. So that
Okay.
will be all for today. Thank you, ma'am.
Okay, thank you, Ma'am Macy, for your very comprehensive report on communication management process. Yan talaga yung anim, ha? 6 management process that you must possess when it comes to communication process. Ha? Yan po ay ang anim. Ha? And then yun nga una, yung sender. Okay, what is your first one? Will you please post it again, Ma'am Macy?
Yes, ma'am. Wait lang po.
Yes. Okay. Okay, yung sender or communicator. So kailangan talaga ang sender natin a good communicator of ideas. Kasi pag hindi maganda, pag hindi maliwanag ang communication niya, hindi maintindihan ng receiver, mali ang magiging ideas ng mga tatanggap. Kaya kailangan ang sender ay good communicator. At doon at the last niyang management process, boost the morale of the employees. Kailangan, bakit ba kayo naririto ngayon? Diba? Because of your school head, nasabi, sige, pasok kayo. Kuha kayo ng 51 units para po kayo ay magkaroon ng ERF at maging teacher 3 kayo. Even though kayo ay teacher 1 pa. Kaya kung maganda ang communication ng inyong school heads, physically, socially, and morally, you will improve your human relations. You will improve the human relations. Kaya ang school heads ay binuboost ang moral ng teachers o ng kanyang empleyado, even not in pursuing the graduate studies or in doing your job well in the school. Binibigyan kayo ng school heads ninyo ng tawag dito ng laya o tinutulungan niya kayo. Doon sa mga programs and projects ng school, binibigyan kayo ng chairmanship para makita ng school heads na really you are good. Yun ay one way of boosting the morale of the teachers or the employees para makita na talagang you can do the job. Ganon ang tama ng ginagawa ng isang administrators. So therefore, those are the 6 communication in the management process. The basis of coordination, the fluent working, the basis of decision making, because first, the decision making is very important. In everyday living, decision making is very important. And also, one of the management processes, increasing managerial efficiency. Kasi kapag maganda ang pagtatrabaho ng mga empleyado o ng mga workers o ng mga teachers, nai-increase ang managerial tawag dito, managerial factors o managerial skills ng isang manager o ng isang school head. Nai-increase kasi nagkakatulong-tulong kayo, you support one another, you cooperate with one another. And then increases cooperation and organizational peace. Kung talagang kayo ay cooperate with each other, you support with each other, you are loyal to your school, nai-increase ang cooperation and organizational peace. Nagkakaroon ng tawag dito ng katahimikan. Nagiging maganda ang samahan ng mga guro at ng isang empleyad, ng isang kumpanya. And the last, nabuboost ang moral ng employees o ng teachers. Kapag ganyan ang isang eskwelahan, even though you are only 6, even though you are only 5 or 10, if the management process when it comes to communication follow the basic process, no way na hindi magi-improve, no way na hindi magiging effective and efficient ang inyo pong eskwelahan. So maliwanag maliwanag ang communication in the management process given by our reporter or even by Lux about the elements of communication. Okay, thank you. Questions? Sige, questions muna. Kay Macy. Wala na po? Matatapos kami ng maaga. Okay, next. Nandiyan na ba si Ma'am Camille? Ma'am Camille, are you in?
Good morning, ma'am. Yes po.
Good morning. Pwede na, Ma'am Camille?
Yes po, ma'am.
Kahit ang kay Ma'am Camille ay hindi kasunod, pero bigyan natin siya ng time because pero ang kanya naman ay about effective leaders. Connected din po doon sa communication. Communication process will not be effective if the leader is not effective. Do you agree with me? Yes or no? Yes or no? Walang nasagot. Okay, yes, Ma'am Camille.
Yes po.
Yes.
Good morning po.
Good morning.
Okay, Camille Velos. I'm
Okay.
from Garcia po.
Okay,
From
okay.
Bilaran National High School.
Bilaran National High School. Okay.
4 years na po akong nagtuturo. 2 years po sa ating pinapasukan ngayon, which is IB. At ngayon po ay magdadalawang taon pa lang po ako sa... Okay, start po tayo.
Yes,
Ang
sir.
topic po natin... Yes po, ma'am. Ang topic po natin is about traits of effective leader. So, I prepared po ng video presentation. Ano po? So, let's watch it.
Lead by example. Mahina kasi ang kanya. Sorry mahina yung kanyang yung internet doon sa kanilang lugar. That's why walang sound. But nakita naman ninyo sa video, Demonstrate integrity. Communicate effectively. recognize success.
Stop ko po, ma'am. Ano po? May
Oh, yes.
po kasi sa akin na hindi daw po rinig. Ano po, ma'am?
Oo,
Ano
oo.
po? Okay, so recognize success. So recognizing success is frequently and consistently recognizing achievement is one of the most powerful habits of inspiring leaders. So we have to recognize po yung mga ginagawa po sa atin ng
Yes.
person.
Ng mga teachers, tama yun.
Nakaka-inspire po ito as
Mm-mm.
inspiration po. At
Mm-mm.
ito po itong way para po lalo pong i-boost ng teacher po at ibigay po niya yung po. So, they already need to know that their work will be valued and appreciated. Find ways to celebrate their team. Take achievements even if it's through simple, well done. Ano po? So, kailangan po natin i-compliment yung ating mga teachers po. Next po is ito naman po yung next, yung empower others. So, great leaders understand that for people to give their best, they must have sense of ownership over their work and believe that what they're doing is very meaningful. Communicate their goals and deadlines to your team and give them the autonomy and authority to decide how to work and get done. Challenge them with high expectations and encourage them to be creative and so last but not the least po is motivate and inspire. The best leaders drive their team forward with passion, enthusiasm, inspiration, and motivation. Let's find in the people they lead to determine and priorities, as well as making them this will help you understand the best way to motivate them. Continually reinforce how their efforts make a difference. Encourage the development of their potential. Set meaningful goals. So, let's have a recap po. Ano po? Yung first one po is share their vision. So, hindi po na din hanggang 5 lang po yung share tayo. Ano po? So, share their vision po. A leader with a vision has a clear idea of where they want to go, how to get there, and what success looks like. Leaders articulate their vision clearly and passionately, ensuring their team understands how their efforts contribute to higher level goals. Working towards your vision with persistence, tenacity, and enthusiasm will inspire others to do the same. So, kailangan po natin ng inspiration. Kailangan po natin as a leader, i-inspire po natin yung ating mga nasasakupan. Ano po? The next po is lead by example. Ito po yung ating second quality of an effective leader. This is the best way to build credibility and gain respect of others. Right? The third one is demonstrate integrity. A leader with integrity grows on their values with their decisions, behavior, and dealing with others. And the fourth one is communicate effectively. This is the ability to communicate clearly, concisely, and factfully is a crucial leadership skill. Hindi lang po kailangan sa communicating ay makayon tayo sa pag-English. Mas kinakailangan po natin mas maunawaan po kung ano yung level ng ating tinatawag. Para po magkaroon po tayo ng malalim na pagkaka. First, share their vision. Second, lead by example. Third, demonstrate integrity. Fourth is communicate effectively. Five is make hard decisions. Six, recognize success. Seven is empower others. And the last one is motivate and inspire. Right? So those are the 8 must-have qualities of an effective leader. That is the end of my report. Thank you for listening.
Okay, thank you, Ma'am Camille, for your topic on traits of effective leaders. And Ma'am Camille discussed with us the 8 traits of an effective leaders. At alam ko naman ay those effective traits of a leader ay possess ng inyong mga school heads sa ngayon. Ano? Alam ko lahat yung 8 iyon ay possess o naging qualities ng inyong leader because they will not be effective, they will not be effective if those 8 qualities ay hindi na possess sa kanila. Maring sabihin nyo, hindi naman po lahat ng leaders ay effective eh. Katulad po ng school namin. Doon sa sinabing 8, meron 2 doong hindi. No? But then, in other way, kung hindi man exactly yung traits na iyon, in other way, ang leader naman ninyo ay naipopossess sa iba namang paraan. Not directly to those 8 traits of effective leader. At wala na nga yung mga negatibong leader. They are all positive, positive leaders and leaders natin ngayon. Or even you as teacher. Hindi lamang po schoolmates ang dapat mag-possess ng 8 effective traits because you are a leader in your own class home, in your own classroom, or even in your family because many of you, may pamilya na. So, kayo ay epektibong nanay, epektibong tatay. Sa paaralan, you are an effective teacher. At sa paaralan din naman, there is an effective leader following those 8 criteria or those 8 traits of effective leaders. Dapat tandaan ninyo yung 8 traits of effective leaders na sinabi sa atin ni Ma'am Camille. Kailangan talagang tayo ay maging maayos, epektibong leader so that our school will be effective, so that our classroom will be effective in a way that every day our pupils listen to our lessons, and then they got high proficiency level. Ang nakukuha nilang marka sa test o sa performance test na ibinibigay ninyo at the end of the lesson, sila'y nakakakuha ng 85, 90. Okay, so therefore, you are effective leaders or effective teachers. You possess the traits to be an effective teacher. Okay, tama yun tama yung sinasabi ng ating mga reporters o na ating mga kasamahan at tama din naman ang aking explanation regarding the topics. Okay. Now, we will go to the next topic which is also about communication. We have 4 levels of communication, but Ma'am Karen will report on 2 types of communication, 2 levels of communication, which is the upward and downward communication. So listen very well, Ma'am Karen, for her topic on levels of communication. Okay,
Good morning
start,
po.
Ma'am Karen.
Good morning po. My
Good
topic is all
morning.
about, pagpasensyahan nyo na po yung boses kasi may sakit
okay.
ako. Levels of communication, which is the upward and downward communication. By the way, I'm Karen A. De Rojas, teacher 1 from Sinturisan ES, San Nicolas District. What do we mean by upward communication and downward communication? As you can see in the picture, upward communication refers to the form of the communication that flows from bottom to top. On the other extreme, downward communication is the communication which moves from top to bottom. Communication is the spine of organization because without it, superior-subordinate relationship cannot thrive and the organization will not be able to function effectively to achieve and also to achieve the objectives. It pertains to meaningful and effective interaction between two or more people. There are two channels of communication, namely the formal communication and the informal communication. Further, there are three directions, which is a formal communication, vertical, horizontal, and diagonal. But this vertical communication can take place in two ways, which is the upward communication and downward communication. Ito nga po yung aking itatopic, which is the upward and the downward communication. But before that, let us to compare what do we mean by upward and the downward. Um, Upward communication is the line communication through which subordinates can convey information to their seniors. While the downward communication is the formal change of command established to direct subordinates and convey information pertaining to organization objectives, policies, and strategies. So sabi nga na ang upward communication is from the bottom to top and downward is top to bottom. Nature. Nature in upward communication is participative and appellative, while the downward communication is authoritative and directive. While the flow in upward communication is subordinate to superior, and while the downward communication is superior to subordinate. So, magkabaliktad lang sila. Purpose. The purpose of upward communication is to make complaints or appeal, give feedback, and suggestions. While in downward communication, to give orders, instruction, advice, or assign responsibilities. While instead, in upward, slow. Kasi you are in bottom from the subordinate to superior kasi hindi naman natin kailangan mabilisan doon. While in downward communication is fast. The frequency in upward is low and downward communication is comparatively high. Examples. Examples in upward communication is reports, direct letters, and proposals. On the other hand, the downward communication is circulars and notices. Now, again, let us define what is upward communication para mas maging clear tayo. Ano ba yung sinasabi nating upward communication? When the flow of information in organization is from lower levels of the corporate ladder to upper levels, it is named as upward communication. So sabi ko nga na it is from lower,
Yes,
from
from the
bottom
bottom.
to top. Parang
Top. Yes.
teacher or
Up to
the
the
learner
yes,
to principal.
principal. Yes.
This form of communication helps employers to express their views, ideas, and grievances with the top management. It is possible only in democratic environment wherein employees have a say in management. Upward communication flows from subordinate to superior, which helps in increasing acceptance of management decision by subordinates. However, it suffers from various limitations like long chain of command, lack of confidence in superiors, fear of criticism, lack of common sharing. So, minsan nga hindi natin may iwasan na mayroon tayong mga ganong issue. So, in this type of communication, the message can be transmitted either through oral media, employer-to-employer meeting, grievance procedure, open door policy, etc. And the written media, reports, letters, complaints, suggestions, and etc. So, iyon ang ibig sabihin ng upward communication. So, ibig sabihin from lower to lower levels or the upper levels. Now, ano naman yung sinasabi natin or what do we mean by downward communication? Downward communication can be defined as a transmission of information and messages from top level executives to low level of employees. This means that the communication initiated by the highest level of management in the corporate ladder to convey orders, instructions, warnings, or responsibilities to subordinates working in the organization. Downward communication is helpful for managers in informing the employees. The vision, the missions, goals, objective, policies, and the procedures of the organization. It can take the form of oral communication as the face-to-face conversation, meetings, speeches, conferences, etc., written communication, handbook notices, circulars, digital news, display warnings, and so forth. This type of communication suffers from various shortcomings like filtration of message, misunderstanding, confusion, the reliability of the source, distortion of the message, unclear message, message of overload. So ito naman, kabaliktaran naman ng upward. Ito naman ay nagmumula sa top
Sisimula sa
level.
taas.
Parang maganda to. It is very helpful to us kasi nagigain tayo from halimbawa sa ating principal, binibigyan tayo ng idea or ng mga nagiging clear sa atin yung mga vision, mission, goals, and objectives of one of the organization. Pero meron din tayong mga shortcomings dito katulad ng filtration of message. Meron din tayong misunderstanding na hindi naman sinasandya ng ating superior na masabi yon, pero sa atin iba yung meaning. Yun yung mga shortcomings pag nasa downward. Now, let us the key difference between the upward and downward communication. The difference between upward and downward communication can be drawn clearly in the following grounds. The first one, the type of communication which is initiated by lower level employees to convey their message or information to upper level management of the organizational hierarchy is known as the upward communication. Conversely, when the transmission of information takes place through organization formal chains of command, then the communication is known as downward communication. So, it is a self-explanatory naman po na kapag sinabi natin na upward, it is in the organization hierarchy. While the downward, it is the communication which is there is a formal of chains of command. The nature of upward communication is participative one, which invites subordinates to share their views and opinions with top management. On the other end, the downward communication is authoritative in nature that tends to direct subordinates regarding the mission and goals of the company. So, kasasabi ko lang nga yung kanina, while the upward communication is used to make complaints or appeal, give feedback, opinions, and suggestions, unlike downward communication, which is used to give orders. Those orders, commands, warnings, advice, and assigns responsibilities. Sa upward communication, we have to make complaints, appeal, give feedback. So, tayo bilang teacher, meron tayong karapatan mag-appeal or feedback. While in the downward naman, sila naman yung mag-give ng orders, commands, warning, or advice. Upward communication is more than consuming that the downward communication, as the latter is empowered by authority and is time-bounded. The occurrence of upward communication is occasional, while the occurrence of downward communication is frequent. Now, the common forms of upward communication are reports, direct letters, and proposals. On the contrary, the common forms of downward communication are orders, circulars, and notices. Now, my conclusion naman dito sa ating upward and downward communication, both the types of the communication are the two aspect of vertical communication. So, isa siya sa mga vertical, one of the levels, which is the vertical communication, the downward and the upward,
Yes.
and are the complementary to one another. The success of downward communication can be ascertained by upward. So, nakadepende. Nakadepende yung pagiging successful ng isang downward communication by upward.
Upward, yes.
Like, it evaluates the effectiveness of policies, plans, strategies executed by the top level of management through the response of those working at the lower levels of the organizational echelon. That that's all po. Thank you po.
Okay, thank you, Ma'am Karen, for your topic on the levels of communication, which is the first, the upward and the downward communication. I have a question regarding the upward communication. Have you experienced coming from, to all of you, sa inyo pong lahat, na mga estudyante ko, have you experienced communication coming from the upward communication? Kasi sabi natin ng upward communication coming from the bottom, going up. Can you give me example? One example ng upward communication. Let me see. Sino makakapagbigay ng example? Yes, sino sa inyo? Ano yung upward communication na have you experienced? Sabi nga ni yung ating reporter, ang upward ay coming from the bottom, o yung example niya from the pupils up to teacher. That is one example of upward communication. Lord, can you give me example? Upward.
Good morning po. So, ma'am, as an SPG advisor or the school youth formation advisor, so once we have this, or I together with my officers in SPG, for example, we decide on a project that will be implemented in our school, whether online or face-to-face. So the decision is made at the bottom, which means the decision has been made among the students or together with the advisor. So that decision will be coordinated with my co-teachers. It will be relayed to my co-teachers and of course to the principal. So the communication goes upward.
Okay, yun. Yun ang halimbawa ni Ma'am Lut na yung dahil si advisor ng SPG, yung projects, yung some of the suggestions, some of the suggestions came from the students. And then doon napunta din sa mga different advisors, hindi lamang sa kanya or even sa principal, kung ano ba yung suggestions ng mga estudyante. Okay, that is one example, a simpler example of what an upward communication is. Okay, let me see another example naman of downward communication coming from above or top level down to lowest level. Ano naman ang example ng inyong communication, downward communication? Who can give me example? Sige po. Pwede po ba? Okay, yes, Mama Smith.
Yes,
okay, sino? Mama Smin.
Yes,
Smin Cabello.
Sige, ma'am.
Yes.
Sa Learning Way po kasi, we are 200 plus teachers.
Yes.
So, during this time of pandemic po, wala na pong nangyayaring general faculty meeting. So, ang ginagawa na lang po ng principal para magkaroon na communication ay nag-meeting po siya with the department heads, and then the department heads na lang po ang mag-meeting po with the department teachers. Para lang po magkaroon ng proper communication kung may mga plano, may mga changes, may mga dapat sabihin ng principal. So, before po kasi may faculty meeting na nangyayari at the covered court, downward pa rin po yun, pero mas mahirap po during this time kasi nga po pandemic. So, dinadaan na lamang po sa department head. So, yun po yung example po.
Okay. According to Mama Smin, kasi ang Lemhi High ay 200 more teachers. So, ang ginagawa ni Sir April o ni Dr. April de Guzman ay minimit niya, pero ang communication ay coming from with him, sa kanya. Copying to him, ang communication. And then, yon ay dinidisseminate niya sa mga department head. And then the department head, i-disseminate naman sa mga teachers na kasama niya. So yun ay example ng downward communication. Ganon. Ang downward communication coming from the top o sa division level. Sa division, may communication ang superintendent, ipalalabas sa mga division supervisors, district supervisors, then ang district supervisors naman, i-relate naman sa mga school heads. And then the school heads down to teachers. And then kung pwede pang ang memong yun o communication ay related sa mga bata, may meetingin pa din through virtual o dyan online ang mga bata. So that is an example of downward communication. Okay, so thank you, Ma'am Karen, for your topic about upward and downward communication. Then we go to the next level of communication also, which is horizontal and the cross-channel by Ma'am Lut Tumbaga. Ma'am Lut, ready na?
Yes po.
Okay, sige.
Ito na po, ma'am.
Okay yan, okay na.
Good morning, everyone. Especially
Good morning.
To our professor, Dr. Remedios M. Razon. Welcome to EDUC 519 Administrative Behavior. This is Maria Lutgarda Artumbaga, Teacher 1 from Balibago Elementary School. So I will be reporting as a continuation of the levels of communication, or particularly the directions of communication or the direction flows. I will be focusing on the two levels of communication, the horizontal and the diagonal levels or diagonal communication. As you can see, we have here the other two, which has been tackled a while ago, the upward and the downward. Then my focus are the diagonal communication and lateral communication. So what is this horizontal communication? Horizontal communication mostly is referred to as lateral communication. Other terms associated with it are sideways communication and interscalar communication. So horizontal communication is the transmission between people, divisions, departments, or units within the same level of organizational hierarchy that happens across the same level in an organizational hierarchy. That's why it is also addressed to as interdepartmental. And since it is interdepartmental, this horizontal communication takes place mostly through face-to-face discussions, telephonic talks, meetings or conferences, and the memos, letters, and manuals, etc. So since this communication is also described as interdepartmental communication, it aims to create a friendly atmosphere in an organization. So these are the objectives of the horizontal or the lateral communication. So it also aims to cut across departmental barriers. Since it happens within the same department or the same level, it aims to cut across those barriers of communication. Another is it ensures quick feedback. So since it happens within the same level or within the same department, quick feedback is expected to happen. So communication within the team, for example, of these horizontal communications, communication within the team wherein the members coordinate tasks, work together to resolve conflicts. So those are examples of horizontal or lateral communications. So this type or level of communication presents some distinct advantages. It decreases misunderstanding between departments working on the same project, thereby increasing efficiency and productivity. It may also result in better implementation of top-level decisions because employees on lower levels are permitted to coordinate directly with each other in the implementation of the decision made at the top. So this also promotes mutual understanding and coordination of activities. So there is the mutual task and confidence. It decreases misunderstanding, hence ensuring smooth functionality in an organization. Another is it speeds up workflow. So due to coordination of managers, opinions and ideas shared, which makes it easier to achieve organizational goals. Another is initiatives and improvements. So it provides avenue for clarification, especially in departments working on the same project. So it also increased job satisfaction and motivation by creating more employee empowerment and communication. It also helps in quick problem solving since through employee empowerment, communication, motivation, and job satisfaction is increased. It also boosts teamwork and coordination. So problems are quickly solved and it guards against the distortion of intended messages. So these are some of the advantages of the horizontal or the lateral communication. However, lateral or horizontal communication has some disadvantages, and this includes conflicts. So these conflicts are particularly what we call rank rivalry and hostility. Another is territoriality, and another is specialization. So horizontal communication does come with disadvantages, and management may have a greater problem in maintaining control as horizontal communication increases. This is in part because management can derive much control and power if it controls the flow of information. And since horizontal communication can also create conflict between employees and exposed to each other through the communication process. Finally, it may also create lack of discipline if strict procedural rules of communication are not imposed or followed. So we have there the lack of discipline, reduction of effectiveness, and other means of communication. Since the communication happens within the department, some of the means of some of the other means of communications are not effectively used. Then greater problem maintaining control, as I've said a while ago. Okay, next. So we have this diagonal communication. What is this diagonal communication? Diagonal communication may also be referred to as crosswise communication, circular communication, or radial communication. So this is a communication that happens across different functions and levels in an organization. So diagonal communication is the sharing of information among different structural levels or within an organization. So this kind of communication flow is increasingly the norm in an organization since it can maximize the efficiency of information exchange. It is also the shortest distance, or since we consider the shortest distance between 2 points is a straight line, these diagonal communication routes are the straight lines that feed communications directly to their recipients. At the moment, communication is necessary. Communication that zigzag along horizontal and vertical routes, on the other hand, are vulnerable and the schedules and availability of individuals who reside at each level. So since this is similar to what we call distance. And when we say distance, the distance between 2 points, that is the straight line. So that is synonymous with diagonal communication, since diagonal is the straight representation of distance between 2 points. So it speeds up the communication process. So this type of communication also happens. It is described, it travels from subordinates to supervisors or to superiors. It is usually verbal, and it is the most direct and the fastest method of communication. So what are the objectives of this type or of this direction of communication? First is to help in proper coordination. Secondly, to communicate effectively, whether laterally, horizontally, and diagonally. That is why it is called crosswise. It encompasses the different levels or the different directions or communication flows as mentioned. Next is to improve mutual understanding. So since it happens it travels from the superior or from the lower lower level of staff to the superior or to the supervisor, it also aims to improve mutual understanding. And it boosts the morale of lower level staff through interaction across the levels in the organization. Given the chance of interacting with the higher or the superiors, the lower level staff uh, is motivated to work better or to improve his communication with the superiors. So what are the advantages of this level of communication, the diagonal or the crosswise communication? First is for faster communication. So from the lower level up to the superior, faster ang communication natin. Another is diverse in nature. Diverse, which means it doesn't consider the authorities, not the higher authorities than the lower level staff, because it directly coordinates or it directly communicates with the superior. Beneficial to link group. Another is fosters a relationship between the lower level and the senior employees. Another ensures messages retain the originality without being distorted. So it avoids infringement. The disadvantages, however, it destroys the lines of authority. Yun yung sometimes nangyayari sa atin, nagkakaroon ng misunderstanding kasi dumirekta tayo sa higher ups or sa higher authority, nagkakaroon ng nagiging issue ng pagbabypass natin sa kinauukulan o sa mas dapat natin dinaanan. Another is disrupted. It is considered as disruptive type. Another departs from normal chain of command. That is what I was explaining a while ago, the normal chain of command. Because normal chain of command coming from the superior down to the next, and then to the lowest level to the lowest staff level. Then it can lead to further confusions. Once the communication is not communicated well or not really transferred well, so there will be confusions between the receiver and the messenger. Then it leads to damaged careers and trust issues. As I've said, once na nagkaroon ng issue ng pagbabypass sa isang authority, it can also create or damage the careers and trust issues. So those are the disadvantages of this level of communication. Communication versus diagonal fusion. So the horizontal, the relay and exchange of information across same level organizational departments, while diagonal communication between employees at different levels in an organization. So the purpose, horizontal, to coordinate interdepartmental activities, while diagonal, to relay instructions between subordinates and superiors. The information flow for horizontal involves people of the same rank and status, while the diagonal involves subordinates and superiors. For the level of formality, horizontal, it has a low level of formality, while diagonal has high levels of formality. In terms of advantages and disadvantages, advantages for horizontal, the promotion of mutual understanding and coordination of activities, provision of an avenue for clarification, especially in departments working on the same project, and teamwork, just to name the given advantages a while ago. Next is for diagonal communication, the advantages fostering without being distorted, reducing the senior employees' workloads, motivating employees, and challenging the management of an organization, and helps in pointing out the weak areas. However, for the disadvantages, for horizontal communication, it may cause rank, rivalry, and hostility for people, mental conflicts, as mentioned. reduction of effectiveness of other means of communications. While for the diagonal communications, it may lead to damage careers and trust issues if employees fail to inform their managers on arising issues and go ahead to email the managing director. So it also creates unhealthy competition in the organization and time wastefulness if not managed properly. So that is, or this is the summary for the, or this is the tabulated comparison of horizontal and diagonal
Diagonal
communication.
communication. Okay.
That's all. Thank you very much.
Okay, so thank you, Ma'am Luke, for your topic about dimensions of communication or level of communication, which is the horizontal or the lateral and the cross channel. Okay. Have you experienced, fellow students, have you experienced na napapractice sa inyong paaralan, yung horizontal or lateral or your cross channel? Na-experience ba ninyo yung communication na iyon? Yes or no?
Yes po.
Yes, okay. Anong communication? What type of communication, Lord?
Usually, ma'am, the horizontal or the lateral communication.
Horizontal or lateral? Because how many teachers do you have doon sa school nyo?
We're 15, ma'am.
15. Okay, so nangyayari yung horizontal. But usually, this horizontal or cross channel, ito sa mga companies, nangyayari, ginagawa ng managers ang communication na ito. But usually sa atin sa DepEd o sa ating school, respective school, downward and upward communication ang gamit natin, ha? Okay, hindi nakakaroon ng bihira magkaroon ng horizontal o yung tinatawag nating cross channel. Okay, ha? O anong tanong ninyo doon sa horizontal and cross channel kay Ma'am Luth? May tanong? Okay, if you have no questions, can we go to the next? Ways of communicating in organization. Ano yung mga paraan din ng pagko-communicate naman sa organization by Ma'am Christine? Christine Dinglasan, where are you? Are you in? Nasa si Ma'am Christine.
Hello po ma'am, good morning po.
Sige, okay. Pwede na po kayo mag-start.
Opo ma'am, ayusin ko lang po. Isa-set up ko lang po.
Sige, set up na. And then sunod naman si Diane De Leon about transactional communication. Together with Reza Bello, assertive communication.
Hello po ma'am, nakikita po ba ang screen?
Opo, kita na po Ma'am Christine.
Okay po. Good morning po Ma'am Rason, good morning po everyone. So I am Christine C. Teacher 1 of Bangin Elementary School, San Nicolas District. So my topic is all about ways of communicating in organization. So let me first recap about communication. Communication is a vital management component to any organization, whether the purpose is to update employees on new policies to prepare for weather disaster, to ensure safety throughout the organization, or to listen to the attitudes of employees. Effective communication is an integral issue in effective management. And strategies for communicating with their constituencies, employees, and stakeholders, as well as with communicating at large. So effective communication may contribute to organizational success in many ways. So first, it builds employee moral satisfaction and engagement. Second, helps employees understand terms and conditions of their employment and drives their commitment and loyalty. Third one, educates employees on the merits of remaining union-free, gives employees a voice, an increasingly meaningful component of improving employee satisfaction with their employer, helps to lessen the chances for misunderstandings and potentially reduces grievances and lawsuits, improves processes and procedures, and ultimately creates greater efficiencies and reduces costs. So napakahalaga po ng effective communication. Gaya po ng ating MAED class na ito, nakakapag-communicate po tayo na ayos. Through yun po, gaya po nating Messenger and Google Meet. So professionals may initially think of communication mainly in the context of delivering messages to employees about issues, policies, and procedures. But two-way communication plays an essential role in comprehensive communication strategy. Listening to employee issues and concerns builds loyalty and drives improved productivity. So napakahalaga na pinakikinggan natin ang ating mga colleagues, ang ating mga kasamahan within our organization para nga naman magkaroon tayo ng maayos na pagkakaunawaan at on the other hand, magkaroon ng better output kung ano man yung napag-usapan na gagawin. So building a communication strategy. To develop a communication strategy, employers should begin by linking communication to the strategic plan, including the organization's mission, vision, and values, its strategic goals and objectives, and its employment brand. So these are the effective communication strategies. So una po diyan ay ang safeguard credibility to establish loyalty and build trust. Second, maintain consistency to establish a strong employment brand. Third, listen to employees and to the members of the leadership team. Next, see input from all constituencies. Provide feedback. Prepare managers in the roles as organizational leaders. Audience. So identifying audience issue is a key task in ensuring effectiveness in any communication strategy. What is the ideal audience for a particular communication? The audience may include everyone who influences or is influenced by the information being shared. For the most effective communication, audience size must
Ay,
also
hindi
be
na. Yeah, may tinapay ako dyan.
given the information being shared and whether interaction will be permitted. Communicating. While much of a communication strategy is focused on imparting information to employees, another central component in permitting employees to have a voice with members of senior management. Having a voice is a critical employee relations issue that affects satisfactions and engagement. So napakahalaga po sa atin na kapag communicate tayo sa nakapaligid sa atin, especially na rin po sa ating trabaho as teachers, na once po na ibinigay sa ating information, kailangan po natin makipag-communicate or kailangan nating magtanong ba para for clear instructions po. Vehicles and approaches. One of the major challenges in developing and executing communication plans is to select the best vehicles for delivering any given message to and from employees. With so many choices, such as face-to-face communication, electronic media, meetings, printed materials, and webinars, the decisions becomes quite complex. Is the communication best suited for an electronic message via email or for a face-to-face meeting? Should communication be mailed to the home address of the employee if family members are affected by the news, such as in a benefits update? Or is it best communicated in a meeting conducted on work time? So since nga po ngayon, we are experiencing the COVID-19 pandemic, bali po ay yung face-to-face meeting po ay medyo restricted na po siya. At gaya po natin sa DepEd, tayo po ay gumagamit po tayo ng mga meetings, gumagamit po tayo ng technologies like cellphone, laptops, para po kahit po tayo hindi po pwede sa ngayon ang face-to-face meeting, maaari pa rin po tayo makipag-communicate dahil nga po for safety purposes po. So when selecting the best communication vehicle, organizational leaders should consider. So marami po dapat i-consider ang mga communication leaders or organizational leaders. So tatlo po yan. Una po ay timing, location, and message. The timing po, the timing of the information may be imperative such as in emergency situations. Pangalawa po is employees' location may affect the selection. Are all employees in one building? At multiple sites are situated globally? Do they work virtually? Message. Another issue that affects the decision is the sensitivity of the information. For layoff or termination information, most professionals agree that face-to-face meetings trump any other means of communication, but some issues may make these meetings impossible due to geographic location of the employees, the number of employees affected, and other factors. Yun nga po, dahil po bawal po ang face-to-face meeting since alam naman po natin na pag face-to-face, ito po yung pinaka-effective na ways, ito po yung pinaka-effective na way of communicating po natin na very effective po. But hindi nga po pwede, so kailangan po natin na gumamit nga po ng ganitong mga technologies. So organizational leaders have many options, including the following when selecting a communication vehicle. First po ay ang handbook. The employee handbook is used to communicate standard operating procedures, guidelines, and policies. The handbook is also used to communicate the organization's mission, vision, and values, hoping to establish an organizational culture and employment brand. Newsletters are used to communicate new information about organization, its products and services, and its employees. Newsletters may be in print or electronic format and may be sent to the employee as well as to his or her family, especially when the news directly affects family members. Email. Communication is a fast and easy way to reach many employees at once. It may be best used when information is urgent, such as in emergencies. Email communication presents some difficulties because tone of voice and inflection are absent. Looking on a sarcastic part, read the intended message. Next one, face-to-face meetings. Face-to-face meetings with employees are one of the best ways to relay sensitive information during layoffs, or restructurings, or when handling employee performance issues. Face-to-face communication is generally preferred. Kahit naman po sino sa atin, gustong-gusto po natin ang face-to-face meetings. Kahit sa ating pagtuturo sa mga bata, mas maganda pa rin po ang face-to-face meetings. Yun po. Medyo po kabado. So, telephone. The telephone is another way to communicate information to employees. Whether it is used in the traditional sense when face-to-face communication is not physically possible, or in more state-of-the-art communication via webinars or voicemail blasts, the telephone is a staple in communication vehicles. And social media. Many individuals regularly use social media sites like Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook, not only for recreational purposes, but as a business communication tool. Social media refers to talent, help salespeople, and allow employees to keep in touch with their leaders. Yan. Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. Hindi lang naman po natin ginagamit para lang libangan. Ito po ay ginagamit din natin. Kagaya po natin mga teachers, napakalaga po yun natin ng Facebook. Ang Facebook po, pwede po tayo dyan, yun nga po, makipag-communicate. Pwede po tayo gumamit dito or halimbawa po meron pong isang page po sa Facebook, halimbawa po sa aming school, pwede po namin doon ilagay yung mga information or i-post. And pwede po namin itong mga information na sa Facebook, pwede po namin ipabisita sa mga eskwela natin since lahat naman po siguro, karamihan po sa ating mga eskwela ay may mga Facebook. Messaging apps. Messaging applications such as Messenger and Viber that interact with applicants and employees through automation may be the future of workplace communication. The next generation of workers prefer chat and messaging apps over traditional email. Gaya po natin sa ating MAED, napakahalaga po ng Messenger. Sa Messenger kayo po ma'am doon po kayo nagbibigay po ng mga information. Sa Messenger po kami report po namin, yung soft copy po ng aming nire-report. Virtual team meetings. Organizations may have employees located across the city or across the globe and may need to rely on virtual team meetings to get work done. Since written communication, whether in print or in electronic format, can have tone of voice, inflection, and other nuances of communication, many work teams rely on video conferences and internet-based technologies to make virtual meetings more productive. Kaya po ng Google Meet natin. Ito po ay isang uri po na virtual team.
Virtual meeting.
Opo. So sa ating pong mga sa kasamahan ko pong nagmamaed sa inyo po bilang professor namin, napakahalaga po ng Google Meet dahil dito po nakakapag-share at nakakapag-impart po ng knowledge.
Knowledge, yes.
So let me end my topic with a quote by Anthony Robbins. The way we communicate with others and with ourselves ultimately determines the quality of our lives.
Yes.
Thank you po.
Okay. Okay, thank you, Ma'am Christine Hans, for your topic about ways or different ways of communicating in organization. So maraming diniscuss si Ma'am Christine, yung iba't ibang paraan kung paano tayo makakapag-communicate nowadays na tayo po ay nasa COVID-19 pandemic. Wala po tayong face-to-face, but she discussed many of the vehicles or approaches in communicating in an organization. Katulad nga ng ginagawa natin through Google Meet, yung virtual team meeting, yung messaging apps, yung ating mga yung paggamit ng laptop, o ito nga ating isinasagawa ngayon. This is very important in communicating in an organization kasi hindi pwede tayo mag face-to-face through virtual or through messages or messaging or Google Meet nakakapagbigay tayo ng information, nakakakuha tayo ng information from others katulad sa inyo. Diba? Nakakarinig ako ng mga informasyon. Ako naman nakakapagbigay din sa inyo ng informasyon even though we are not in face-to-face contact. But through messaging or through Google Meet, nakakatanggap tayo ng iba't ibang komunikasyon para tayo ay lalong mapabuti. Katulad din yung sa inyong pagbibigay ng mga modules sa inyong mga estudyante o sa mga parents, nakikipag-communicate kayo through Google Meet din, through virtual team meeting. Okay. So talagang naranasan natin ngayon, it's a COVID-19 pandemic, itong ating ginagawa sa ngayon. Pero kung hindi tayo COVID pandemic o wala tayo sa sitwasyong ito, face-to-face ang ating ginagawa. Okay. Any questions regarding the different ways of communicating in organization? Maraming ibinigay sa atin na vehicles or approaches in communicating. At yun talaga ay tamang-tamang ginagawa natin sa ngayon. Sa ngayong COVID-19 pandemic. Okay. Thank you, Ma'am Christine, for your topic. Then we go to the next. transactional communication or transactional analysis in communication by Dayan De Leon. Ma'am Dayan, are you in? Ma'am Dayan.
Po, ma'am.
Okay. Can you
Yan po.
start?
Yes
Pakiayos
po, wait.
mo ng iyong video. And then sunod si Reysa Bello about assertive. Ano ba yung transactional communication? Ano ba yung assertive communication?
Ma'am, nakikita na po yung slide ko.
Opo, kita na po.
Thank you po.
Yes.
So, good morning, everyone.
Good morning.
I am Diane Cristel E. De Leon, Teacher 1 from Sinturisan Elementary School, San Nicolas District, and my topic is all about transactional communication. Okay, so before we proceed, let us first define what communication is. Okay, so communication is simply the act of transferring information from one place, person, or group to another. Now, let us define what is transactional communication. Transactional communication is the exchange of messages between sender and receiver, where each take turns to send or receive messages. Here, both sender and receiver are known as communicators, and their role reverses each time in the communication process, as both processes of sending and receiving occurs at the same time. So, maiintindihan po natin ito through this model.
Model, yes. Yeah.
Okay, so this is a transactional model of communication. So dito po, makikita natin na meron dalawang communicator. So, ito po ay isang sender at isang receiver. So, dito po, once po na nag-communicate na ang sender at receiver, mag-i-interchange na po sila ng roles. So, yung receiver po magiging sender at yung sender magiging receiver. And yung mga noise po, yun po yung mga isa sa factors na ating i-explain mamaya na nakaka-affect sa ating transactional communication. So dito po, as we can see, it shows that the elements in communication are interdependent. Each person in the communication act is both a speaker and a listener, and can be simultaneously sending and receiving messages. So ito po yung transactional communication ay yun po yung general mode of communication na ginagamit natin. So yung everyday talk natin po and interactions is a form of transactional communication. So sabi po dito, hindi po magiging possible ang communication kapag po ang receiver natin ay hindi nakikinig sa ating sender. So, okay po. So, sabi po dito, a transactional model is the process of continuous exchange and transformation where every component is changing, such as the people, their environments, and the medium used. So, ito po yung sinasabi natin kanina. May negative and positive effect po yung sinasabi nating transactional communication. Kasi po kanina, yung ating mga kasama, sinasabi po nila na syempre po ang face-to-face ay isa sa pinaka mainam na way ng pakikipag-usap. Pero dito po sa transactional communication, nakaka-affect po dito kapag hindi po face-to-face yung dalawang tao. Although nagko-communicate po sila, maaari pong hindi ma-perceive ng person the same way it is sent through a phone and when it is provided face-to-face. So it is because of possible loss of message on a phone call or absence of gesture. So, di ba po, mas mainam pa rin po na kaharap natin yung ating
kausap.
Yes po. Pero dahil po panahon po ng pandemic, so to advisable.
Yes.
Okay po. So next, here are the factors affecting transactional model. So there are many factors directly or indirectly affecting the communication process in transaction model. These can be environmental noise or communication barriers. Environmental noises can be physical noise, physiological noise, and psychological noise. So yung ingay po sa ating paligid, nakakaapekto po siya sa ating transactional communication. Mamaya po atin po mas ipapaliwanag pa yan. Okay po. So criticisms of transactional model. Without verbal response, the sender cannot be sure that the receiver got the message as intended. Feedback is an important component in the communication process, especially in interpersonal communication, as it gives a space to clarify misunderstanding. So ito nga po yung, kapag po yung sender kapag po yung ating nagbigay po ng message yung sender, tapos po yung receiver po ay hindi nag-respond. So hindi po natin sigurado kung yung ating po message ay naibigay po ng maayos.
Yes, okay.
So napaka-importante po ng feedback. So sinabi na nga po ito kanina, kapag po hindi nagkaroon ng feedback yung ating receiver, so hindi po parang hindi po na-fulfill yung ng send. Example po, magkausap po yung dalawang tao nga, hindi naman po sumasagot yung ating kausap, so hindi po na-fulfill ang transactional communication. And next po, criticism, isa pong example ng criticism is it gives the opportunity for a lot of noise because the communication is simultaneous. For example, when many people are talking at the same time in a meeting, the objective of the meeting will not be fulfilled. So sa atin pong classroom setup, pwede po natin itong i-apply. Kasi po, kunyari po, ang teacher po ay discuss po siya ng discuss, tapos po yung ating
mga bata
hindi nakikinig. So yun po yung nakaka-affect. Hindi po nila nare-receive yung ating message. So, yes po, hindi po, parang wala pong saysay yung ating mga sinasabi kung wala pong nakikinig sa atin. Okay po. So, I have here a short video clip about transactional communication. Okay po. So yun po ang isang example natin.
Yes.
So I will end this report through this quote. We are stronger when we listen and smarter when we share. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you, Ma'am Dayan, for your topic about what is transactional analysis in communication. So kailangan, the most important in that particular types, the transactional analysis communication, ay both ang sender at ang receiver ay nagkakaunawaan, ha? Kasi kung hindi naunawaan ng receiver ang sinabi ng sender, magkakaroon tayo ng problema. There will be difficulties in informing messages to the clientele or to your pupils. Kailangan talaga ang sender at ang receiver ay maayos. When it comes to transactional, silang dalawa ang pinakamahalaga doon. And communication is very important. Ha? Okay. Questions doon sa transactional. Questions ninyo about sa transactional doon sa ibinigay ni Mama Dayan De Leon about the importance on the transactional analysis communication. Okay, if you have no questions, we can go to the next, which is assertive communication by Reza Bello. Ma'am Reza, are you in? Ma'am Reza, ayan, okay. What is assertive
Yes
communication?
po, ma'am.
Yes.
Nakikita na po.
Kita na, okay.
Good morning, ma'am. Good morning, everyone. My name is
Good
Reza
morning.
Bello from San Luis District po.
San Luis.
Apo.
Okay, teacher 1?
As of now po, substitute teacher pa lang po.
Okay.
Teacher
sige
1.
lang. Okay.
So my topic is all about assertive communication. What is assertiveness? Assertiveness is communicating and expressing your thoughts, feelings, and opinions in a way that makes your views and needs clearly understood by others without putting down their thoughts, feelings, or opinions. Assertiveness is the ability to express our thoughts and feelings openly in an honest, appropriate, respectful, and direct way. It can be hard to do, but it gets easier with practice. So the art of assertiveness, respecting others' rights as well as your own, communicating effectively, directly, and with confidence, dealing with conflict effectively and calmly, handling and receiving feedback effectively, setting boundaries. Focus is on behavior and problem solving instead of attacking, ignoring the person. So, common barriers to assertiveness. Some people fear repercussions of acting assertively or may lack the skills to express themselves effectively. They may believe that they don't have the rights to be assertive. Communicating assertively will not guarantee the other person will change his or her behavior and give you what you want, but it will help you establish limits and boundaries with others. So, defining assertive communication. It is not open to misinterpretation. It is clear. There is absolute clarity about what the speaker needs from the listener. It involves a solution. It is free of negative or aggressive emotion. Body language is congruent with the message. Words used and body language show respect to the receiver. Spoken firmly from the speaker's own point of view. So, why assertive communication makes sense? Because assertiveness is based on mutual respect. It's an effective and diplomatic communication style. Being assertive shows that you respect yourself because you're willing to stand up for your interest and express your thoughts and feelings. It also demonstrates that you're aware of the rights of others and are willing to work on resolving conflicts. So being assertive po, mahalaga po ito lalo-lalo na sa mga future principals dyan na paano tayo mag-respond sa mga wants at saka sa mga needs ng ating mga kasamahan sa school, especially sa mga teachers or sa mga bata. So assertive verbal and non-verbal characteristics. So assertive has a verbal characteristics. These are relaxed voice, few hesitations, sincere and clear voice, willingness to explore solutions, seeking others' opinions. While nonverbal has receptive listening, direct eye contact, clear expressive emotions, relaxed gestures, straight posture. In communication style, when confronted with difficult situations, people can sometimes respond passively or aggressively. So sa passive po, they have the characteristic of disrespecting self. While in aggressive, they are disrespecting others. But in assertive communication, they have both. They are respecting both. Assertive versus positive behavior. Passive person often feels inhibited, anxious, and allows others to downgrade their value. If you may seem to be shy or overly easygoing. In essence, when you're too passive, you give others the license to disregard your wants and needs. Halimbawa po na inisip po lagi ng passive behavior na hindi niya kayang gawin yung mga kailangan gawin niya at siya ay nahihiya. Assertive versus aggressive behavior. Aggressive individuals express their rights but often on a wrong way by degradation or humiliation of others. Aggressive behavior undercuts trust and mutual respect. Sa aggressive behavior naman po, yung kanyang pagre-respond ay malakas, strong personality po ang kanyang characteristic. Assertiveness falls in between these two responses. Your needs, other needs, what you want, and what others want. So, sa assertive po, nai-respond po niya lahat ng your needs and your wants. How to become more assertive? 1. Use polite words. Call a person by their name, use humor, it breaks down negative emotions and will put tense situations at ease. Use appropriate words like excuse me, thank you, I appreciate it. 2. Begin your sentences with I instead of you. Using you puts the other person on the defensive. Prefer I. Example, I think, I noticed, I didn't like, I am concerned about. 3. Say what you want. Don't leave the other person in the dark. Show program. Present facts and data, not opinions and interpretations. Always get the facts right before you pass judgment. Let the person know your goal or possible solution. Connect the two individuals who share the issues. Example, I heard that John complained about Rick. So have you checked with John about this? Has he talked to Rick about it? 4. Criticize the behavior, not the person. Don't put the person down. Focus on their behavior when communicating. Instead of you're too slow. Say, I don't think you are doing your share of the work. Look at the person's eye. 5. Repeat the problem back. Articulate the issues. Keep on track if other topics are introduced. Repeat the problem back. This indicates that you want to solve the original problem first. You can talk about other problems later. Stay focused on the issue. Do not get distracted, defensive, or start justifying yourself. Get group validation. 6. Make commitments where appropriate. For example, who's going to do what? Who takes the lead? When are they going to do it? Everyone needs a clear understanding. So answer who, what, when, where, how much, how many. Display strength and courage and step up to the challenge. Own the results, the risk, like the failure. Be honest about it. So that's all So what are the benefits of being assertive? Behaving assertively can help you gain self-confidence and self-esteem, understand and recognize your feelings, earn respect from others, improve communication, create win-win situations, improve your decision-making skills, create honest relationships, gain more job satisfaction. So that's all po.
Okay, thank you, Ma'am Risa,
Thank
for
you
your
po.
topic about assertive communication. And since she discussed the benefits
Yes po.
of being assertive, ha? Yung mga benefits na ilan ba yon? 2, 4, 6, 8, 9. 9 benefits of being assertive. So kailangan para kayo ay maging assertive communicator. Kailangan i-follow nyo ano ba yung mga nararapat na maging attitude ko or behavior to become more assertive communicator of ideas. And then dun sa dalawa, both the transactional and assertive both have advantages and disadvantages of communication. Merong silang advantages and disadvantages. Pero pareho silang okay when it comes to communication. Okay, next. May question? So we are through about communication. Tapos na po ang ating communication topic. And then we will go to leadership. Leadership. And Ma'am Ann Enriquez will give the meaning and the components of leadership. Ma'am Ann, are you ready? Okay. Ma'am Ann.
No po. Good morning,
Yes.
everyone.
Good morning. Next ay si Sir Edison and then last ay si Catherine Alday.
Good morning, everyone.
Good morning.
I am Emmy Annie Enriquez, teacher 1 from Kalangay Elementary School, San Nicolas District. And my topic is about meaning of leadership and its components. What is leadership? Leadership is a process of social influence which maximizes the effort of others toward the achievement of a goal. According to Livingstone, leadership is the ability to awaken the desire to follow a common objective. According to Kate Davis, leadership is the process of encouraging and helping others to work enthusiastically towards their objectives. While according to George R. Terry, leadership is a relationship in which one person influences others to work together willingly on related tasks to attain what the leaders desire. And last, according to Kuntz and O'Donnell, leadership is the process of influencing people so that they will strive willingly toward the achievement of the group goals. Leadership is a process by which an executive can direct, guide, influence the behavior and work of others toward the accomplishment of a specific goal in a given situation. Here are the components of leadership. The 4 components of leadership are leader, follower, goal, and environmental context. First is the leader. Leader, they don't simply give jobs to their team members. For example po, sa atin po, ang principal po, hindi na po basta binibigay na lang nila yung trabaho po natin. Nagkakaroon po tayo ng technical assistance para ma-improve pa natin po ang ating teaching process. The leader, they set provides the team vision and provide strategies that guide his members toward the achievement of the goals. Next, followers. The traditional conception of followers is subordinates. Followers now are empowered by education, better technology, and enhanced communication abilities. This allows the followers to play a more active role in negotiating their space in leadership process. Followers are the partner of leaders in attaining a common goal. For example po ma'am, sa ating classroom situation, as a teacher po, hindi lang po basta natin binibigay yung idea sa mga bata. Nire-recognize din po natin yung idea po ng bata. Nagkakaroon po tayo ng negotiation between the learners po. Next is goal. Goal, leaders and followers work together to achieve this goal. And one of the factors in achieving this goal is having an effective communication between the leader and the follower. The constant communication will build trust, rapport, and share the accountability between the leader and the teams. In our current situation, na mayroon pong pandemic, mahirap po para sa atin na ma-assess kung achieve ba natin ang goal. Kaya po, importante po ang good communication sa ating parents po para po monitor po natin yung mga progress po ng ating mga estudyante. And last is the environmental context. Environmental context is the situation where the leader and the team must judge to must use judgment to decide the best course of action and the leadership styles needed for each situation. Because sometimes what we do in one situation will not always work in another. For example po, ngayong dahil nga po sa current situation po natin na hindi po pwede ang face-to-face, nagkaroon po ang in-apply po natin is magkaroon po tayo ng distance learning, pwede pong modular and online learning. Once again, the components of leadership is leader, follower, goal, and environmental context. And let me add my presentation with this quote from Robin S. Sharma. Leadership is not about a title or a designation. It is about impact, influence, and inspiration. Thank you po.
Okay. Thank you, Ma'am. Tawag dito. Ma'am.
MN po.
Ann Enriquez. Okay. For your topic about meaning and components of leadership. First of all, leadership is important. If you cannot lead, the followers will not follow you. If you're not a good leader. Kaya leadership is very important. And according to her, leadership is not in position. Hindi yung sa position natin, but it is the way and how we influence. We encourage our subordinates. At yun po ang sinasabi nating with leadership. Ay leader ka nga, di mo naman ma-encourage si Dr. Rason na sumunod sa iyo sa mga sinasabi mo because nakikita ni Dr. Rason na you are not a good leader. Kasi iba yung sinasabi mo kaysa sa ginagawa mo. Sinasabi mong ikaw ay leader, o nga leader. So ipakita mo, be the model to your subordinates so that the subordinates can follow you or will follow you. Maliwanag. And then she discussed also the different components of leadership. At ito yung 4. A leader, yes, because a leader is a good follower. And the follower is a good leader. Kaya leader, follower, goal. And then the environment contact or context. Okay? Kailangan talaga meron kayong goal. As a leader o as a teacher again. Sabi ko ulit, as a teacher again. Because all of you are teachers. As a teacher, you must have a goal. Every day. As you enter your classroom or your class home, magsimula kang magturo, you must have a goal. Na at the end of the day, at the end of the day, all my 50 pupils or students will learn from me. Matututo ang mga batang ito bago lumabas sa maghapong ito sa aking pagtuturo, matututo sila. You must have a goal. Hindi sa simula, basta ako'y magturo, maya-maya naman. O ngayon, 22. O nandiyan na ba ang sweldo ninyo? Fellow teachers. O, Imek, nandiyan na sweldo nyo? Wala pa.
Noong Friday pa po.
Meron na po.
Yan. O, bilin.
Friday pa po.
Magkasunod na inyong
Wala pa po.
ang iba wala pa pero darating na. Ang sabi ni Sir Iseo kasi si Sir Iseo nasa Lubo. Hindi ka pa permanent? Wala ka pa sa payroll? Sir Iseo?
Good morning po ma'am. Na-payroll lang po. February po ako na-aim. Wala pa po ngayon.
Wala pa. Pero wala ka pa natatanggap.
Hindi po ma'am. Meron na po. Ay yung monthly po. Wala pa.
Yung monthly wala pa. Okay. So, magkasunod lang inyong PBB. Magkasunod lang yung sweldo. Huwag nyo laging iisipin na, basta naman ako yung nasweldo, bahala kayo. Kung kayo hindi matutuno. You must have a goal. Every day. You must have a goal. And you must be a good leader or a good teacher so that you can have a good follower or students or pupils. Yan lagi ang inyong alamin. Yan lagi ang inyong isipin. And also with the environment context. Kailangan ay you go with the environment. Sabi ko sa inyo, kaya yung 4 na yun ang components of being a good leader. A leader, a follower, a goal, and environment context. Okay. So, sa inyong pagpasok, alam ko, dahil 2 meetings lang natin, marami na kayong natutuhan. Marami na kayong nalalaman na dapat ninyong taglayin because all of you, hindi lamang sasabihin nyo, ay, ako'y teacher lang. Maya-maya kayo, master teacher na. Maya-maya sabi nyo, ay, gusto ko siguro ako'y maging school head. Before you retired. Kailangan ang karamihan sa inyo tapos ng thesis, MA with thesis, not only with yung ERF, yung 51 units. Pero kailangan kayo ay mag-thesis so that you can be promoted. Pero doon naman sa ERF na 51 units, you can be promoted. Teacher 1 kayo ngayon, matapos kayo ng 51, you will be a teacher 3, vice your own item. Pero mas maganda, meron kayong vision and mission. O by at the end of 10 years, by 10 years, pagsapit ng 10 taon, ako'y isa ng school head. But, kung kayo ay school head, be sure, inyong isipin, ano ba yung aming napag-aralan sa klase ni Dr. Rason or in other subjects? Because doon sa klase kung sa subjects kong tatlo, ito ay basic subjects o major subjects. It's about na tatakil tayo in ang things about a good leader. Ang leadership ay nagpipertain sa teacher together with a school head. Ganito pala ang dapat kong gawin kung ako ay isang school head. O even a master teacher now. Master teacher nag-o-observe. Siya ang pinakakanang kamay ng school head kapag walang school head sa school. Magkaroon kayo ng ambisyon na maging master teacher or even school head. But be sure, yun namang inyong pinag-aaralan. Kailangan naman inyong taglayin so that you can be a successful leader or a successful school head or a successful teacher. Okay. Can we go to the next? Sir, John, about leadership effectiveness. When do we say that leadership is effective? Sir Edison?
Yes,
Come
po.
on. Yes. Ato, nasa lubo ka? Sir?
Morning po. Ma'am, nandito po sa Nasubo po. Babalik po ulit doon. By Friday.
Okay.
Okay na po.
Okay na, sir.
Good morning po sa ating lahat. I'm John Edison B. Nazareno from Papaya Elementary School, Nasugbu West District.
Yes.
So my topic is about leadership and effectiveness of leadership. So unahin natin ang leadership. So natalakay na nga po yan kanina pero magbibigay lang po ako ng konting informasyon. So leadership, ano nga ba ang leadership? So it is the action of leading a group of people or an organizations. So bilang leader, isa ka dapat sa nagmo-motivate at nag-i-inspire sa mga kasama mo. Tulad nga ng sabi ni Doktor, kailangan ma-encourage mo ang mga katrabaho o kasamahan mo bilang isang leader, hindi bilang isang boss. Ano po? Next, leadership is like beauty. It's hard to define, but you know it when you see it. Ano po, hindi naman pwedeng sabihin nila ang lahat ng tao ay isang leader. Hindi naman po pwedeng sabihin nilang basta na gano'n. Dahil masasabi mo na leader ang isang tao kapag siya ay nakasalamuha mo na o nakasama mo na kung paano siya makisama sa ibang tao o kung paano niya pahalagahan ang isang tao. Next, how do do I know when I am seeing a leadership? So, paano mo nga ba makikita ito? So, it's an example, a book. So, pwede mo tingnan sa taas, sa bandang gitna, o sa pahuli. Pwede mo siya sabihin leader, base sa kanyang itsura, pero hindi sang-ayon dyan ang karamihang nakakakita. So, dapat dyan, pinapakita niya kung siya ba ay talagang leader. So, ito na. So, what is leadership? Who is a great leader? Paano natin masasabi na isang leader ang isang tao? So, leadership. Leadership is leading people, influencing people, commanding people, and guiding people. So, ang tunay na leader ay palaging gumagabay sa kanyang mga kasama upang ito ay matuto ng mas mabilis at ng walang halong takot. Palagi tayong maging mapagpakumbaba upang mas mapadali natin or mas madali tayong maunawaan ng ating mga kasama. At dahil doon, mas madali natin silang may encourage, lalo na sa mga mahihirap na gawain. Parang mas lalo silang ma-motivate na kaya ko to kasi magaling ang aking leader. Next, leaders are born, not made. Ano ho? Ang pagiging leader ay natural mong ugali na pinapakita mo sa harap ng maraming tao. Ito ay hindi nabibili ng pera at lalong hindi nakukuha sa kung sino man. Ito ay kung paano mo tratuhin ng maayos ang iyong empleyado o kasamahan. Leadership is a relationship that creates positive change. Kapag mayroon kang positive mind sa pagiging leader mo, mas gagana ang pumasok ang mga empleyado o kasama mo sa trabaho. Dahil kapag mayroon halong saya at galak ang isang samahan, ay mas mamahalin mo pa ang iyong trabaho at hindi ka mauuta sa iyong mga kasama, lalo na sa iyong leader. So, manager versus leaders, ito nga po yun. Focus on things, do things right, plan, organize, direct, control, and follow the rules. Yun po yun sa managers. Ang sa leaders, focus on people, do the right things, inspire, influence, motivate, build, and shape entities. So, kitang-kita naman natin na mas inaalagaan ng leaders ang kanyang mga tao kasi sa managers. Kasi mas, ang leaders, mas nakapokus siya sa trabaho, hindi lang sa gawain. Ay, sa tao.
Hindi lang sa gawain, sa tao. Yes.
Kasi, tao mo, o hindi pa. Example, hindi ako. So, bigay ka ng trabaho, i-guide mo siya, i-motivate mo siya, hindi sasabihin mo, kailangan matapos mo to sa gantong oras. Ano po? Sunod, i-inspire mo siya at i-motivate mo. Hindi yung lagi nang kailangan utusan mo lang siya sa gantong paraan. Bago siya gumawa, kailangan i-motivate mo muna siya kung paano niyo tatapusin ang iyong trabaho. Importance of leadership. Initiates action, motivation, providing guidance, creating confidence, coordination, effective planning, inspiration, and motivation. So, ang importance ng leadership dyan ay huwag natin kalimutan ang mga kahalagahan ng pagiging isang leader. Dahil dito, ang mga, ang kahalagahan ito, ang mga paraan upang tayo ay maging isang mabuting leader sa ating samahan. Tandaan din natin na magkaiba ang boss at leader.
Yes.
A boss say go and a leader say let's go. Ano po? May kasabihan nga tayo na a true leader is the one who humble enough to admit their mistakes. Factors of leadership. Okay, dito sa example this situation, a follower and a leader. Ano po? Upang maging effective leader tayo, panatilihin natin na lagi tayong may communication sa ating katrabaho. Lagi natin silang i-guide, i-encourage yung mga trabahong ibinibigay natin sa kanila. Lagi din natin silang bigyan ng maayos na direksyon kung paano tatapusin ang mga planong ibinigay sa kanila. Effective leader, who knows how to inspire and relate others. Effective leaders concentrate on what they are, what they know, and what they do. Ipinapakita dito sa slides na ito kung paano ka mas magiging effective na leader. Madali lang naman. Lang ang natural mong ugali mo o natural mong ginagawa. sa pang-araw-araw. At yung pagiging tapat mo sa iyong kasama ay isang malaking bagay na upang ikaw ay pagkatiwalaan niya sa maliit na bagay at sa araw-araw na pagkasama nyo. Effective leadership styles. Number 1, vision. 2, passion and self-sacrifice. Number 3, confidence, determination, and persistence. 4, image building. Number 5, role modeling. So this slides focuses on determination, confidence, and sacrifice of being a leader. Ipakita mo sa kanila na hindi ka boss. Iparamdam mo sa kanila na ikaw ay isang role model leaders upang mas makatch mo ang atensyon nila o mas ma-encourage mo ang atensyon agad nila dahil ang ibang boss ay hinahangaan lang dahil sa kanilang posisyon. Mas masarap hangaan ng isang leader kung ikaw ay nagiging ehemplo or na-inspired mo ang iyong katrabaho upang mas lalo silang maging successful o ikaw ang iyong empleyado o kasama. Ano po? Ayun lang po. That's all.
Okay, thank you, Sir Edison, for your topic about leadership effectiveness. Okay, napakaganda na yung topic ni Sir John Edison na ano ba yung kahalagan? Why is leadership effective? Sabi na nga niya, why is leadership effective? So, kailangan tayo as leader, we must have a vision. At saka, we must respect our subordinates. Para tayo i-respect. Para tayo i-respect. And also, we must be a good model to them. Pakita natin na tayo talaga ay ihemplo para kanilang masundan. Kasi kung hindi nila makikita sa atin yung characteristics of being a good leader, of being a good leader, sasabihin, paano naman susundin natin ang leader nating iyan? Yung lalaki, makikita natin pag sa linggo, low G's. Ito naman mga babae nating leaders, makikita natin, laging nasa labas. O sa pamamalengke, makikita natin, yun, nakikipag-away sa palengke. Do you possess good leadership with that kind of attitude? Or with that kind of behavior? Kailangan po talaga tayo ay role model. We must be a good follower so that our followers will follow us. At magiging effective po ang ating eskwelahan. With that kind of leadership. Kaya dapat taglayin ninyo yung mga magagandang na dapat taglayin ng isang leader o ng isang teacher. Hindi yung teacher na laging absent, lagi kong sinisingit ang teacher because we are teachers. Hindi naman kayo school heads na tinuturuan ko na nakuha ng maid class. Kayo po ay mga teachers. Kaya kailangan po kayo ay a good teacher. With good perception when it comes to teaching. Hindi sasabing, bahala na kayo. Kung kayo hindi matuto, kayo ang hindi nakikinig. Pag hindi nakikinig ang mga bata, try to think of another strategies that you will convince na ang mga bata ay tumahimik once you step inside the classroom. At pag ganun ang mga bata, nakikinig sa inyong pagtuturo. So therefore, I can say you that you are an effective teacher. O kung pag ang mga teachers naman nagtatrabaho ng maayos, even though the school is not around. O pag may mga programs and projects na ipinagawa ang district supervisors na ginawa ng mga schools at ginawa ng mga teachers in a respective school, then you have an effective leader. Gayon lamang. Ganun lamang ang ating ibig sabihin. Okay, so thank you, Sir Edison, for your topic about leadership effectiveness. Then we go to the last topic this morning, which is about leadership behavior. Okay. Sige, Ma'am Catherine Alday,
Ma'am,
Will you
nakikita.
please start your
Ma'am-
your topic?
Okay po, ma'am. Ma'am, nakikita na po ninyo.
Opo, kita na.
Okay po. Okay, good morning everyone. My name is Catherine M. Alzay, Teacher 1 from Law of National High School, Nasugbu East District. My topic is all about leadership behavior. Adopting positive leadership behavior can motivate your team to be more effective and increase its ability to reach goals. It also helps you to retain top talent within your department, as team members will value the opportunity to work alongside you. Learning how to behave like a leader can take practice and a strong sense of self-awareness as you monitor your own actions. Kung mapapansin po natin, ang aking pong report ay may related po doon sa ni-report po ni Ma'am Camille Garcia, yung
Yes, okay.
traits of effective leaders, leaders po, yun po, nakita ko po yung, habang nakikinig po ako, napansin ko po yun.
Okay.
Leadership behavior is the traits and actions that make an individual effective as a leader. This behavior is the process by which a person can guide, direct, and influence the work of others to meet specific goals. These actions and strategies can be learned to increase the effectiveness of those around them. Individuals use these behaviors to motivate people into action when they have a vision for an organization, a product, or a group of people. Why are effective leadership behaviors important? Good leadership behaviors are crucial to become someone who inspires and leads people to maximize efficiency and to achieve the goals of the organization. Ayun, yung pagiging effective ng isang leader. And leadership behaviors are essential to increase the productivity of a team. Paano? Consistent leadership can motivate a team to greater performance para ma-increase ang productivity ng bawat isa sa grupo. And to retain people, employees are less likely to leave if they receive great leadership and mentorship in their current roles. Siguro naman walang magnanais na umalis kung ang inyong boss or ang inyong leader ay talagang siya ay effective, di po ba? Kasi kaya ang iba naghahanap na ibang trabaho, nauuta na minsan sa pinaka-leader. Di ka ho, ma'am. Sadya naman po, ma'am. Minsan nauuta na po kasi.
Nauuta na. Your term is nauuta. Para yung sa ulam, ha? Uta ka na sa lasa. Okay.
Kasi kung malapit na po ang lunch. Okay po. Nurture future leaders. Leadership behaviors are integral to develop and nurture future leaders within an organization. Yun ang ating, dapat may objective tayo na kapag halimbawa leader ako, kapag ako'y nagretiro, meron akong isa sa aking mga tauhan na papalit sa akin, di po ba? Para hindi ka tayo selfish.
May successor.
Opo.
May successor.
Meron tayong future leaders na papalit sa atin, di po ba?
Yes. Kaya kailangan be a good leader so that you can train your subordinates to be a good leader also.
Okay po, ma'am. Yun nga po. Here is the list of ways you can behave like a leader. Be honest. Honesty helps to create a work environment that feels fair and open.
Wala yung slides.
Ay, wala.
Oo, di po nakikita namin ang slides mo.
Ay, nakikita ko po dito. Hindi po nakikita, ma'am.
Opo. Wala pong slides nyo. So sige, kung hindi mo makita, go on. Go on. Nakikinig naman ang yung mga classmates.
Yeah.
Yan.
Okay. Be honest. Honesty helps to create a work environment that feels fair and open. Employees will be more likely to trust your decision and trust you with their problems if they feel that you are honest with them. Doing what you have said you will do can show your team that you are trustworthy. Ano po? Be honest.
Be honest.
Second, be confident in your decisions.
Yes.
Making decisions safely and confidently is one of your primary duties as leader. Siyempre, ikaw yung magdi-decision. Your team should have faith that you are capable of making a decision. Siyempre, being a leader, kinakailangan bago ka mag-decide, talagang yan ay pulido. Ano po? Yung pulido, di po ba? When you confidently commit to a decision, your employees will have confidence in your abilities as a leader. Siyempre, kapag merong pula, magiging pula sa iyong desisyon, kapulaan mo yun bilang ikaw ay leader. Be approachable. Work to keep lines of communication open so that your teams feels like they can talk to you. Display active listening skills to encourage communication, such as asking open-ended questions and being attentive while the employees speaks. Hindi nakikinig ka lang. Siyempre, dapat meron ka ding, habang nakikinig ka, nauunawaan mo, hindi yung basta lang pumapasok sa tenga mo, tapos sa kabila labas na. What I mean is, with understanding, listening with understanding. Keep your employees informed by communicating with them regularly about decisions and what is happening within the team and organization. Being a leader, hindi lamang ikaw lamang ang dapat na nakakaalam ng mga communication or yung mga dapat na malaman ng iyong mga tauhan. Dapat sila din ay regularly na iyong ikino-communicate. Provide objective feedback. Your team should know what you expect of them and how they can improve. This should be done positively with a focus on educating employees rather than punishing them. Correction should be done privately so as not to embarrass team members. Talagang dapat po yun, private. Ano po? Kung tayo, syempre tao lang po tayo po ay nagkakamali. Kung tayo man po ay nagkakamali, private po nating kakausapin. Kung tayo ay leader, private nating kakausapin ng ating member para hindi naman siya mapahiya sa karamihan. At hindi, porket tayo ay leader or ay lahat alam natin, di po ba? May mga bagay na hindi rin natin alam. Hindi lahat ng bagay ay alam natin. Magpakatali-talino man po tayo. Create a positive trusting relationship by identifying what the employee is doing correctly and suggesting ways they could do better. Okay po. 5. Lead by example. Kagaya nga po ng kay Ma'am Camille Garcia, kanya po ay lead by example, number 2 niya yon. Ang sa akin po ay number 5, lead by example. Hold yourself to the same standards as employees. If your team is required to stay late with them. If your team must reach a particular goal, it should be something you can also attain. While delegating is an essential skill that leaders must possess, your team will appreciate it when you can work alongside them toward a common objective. Ibig sabihin, lead by example. Paano ka susundin kung yung sinasabi mo ay hanggang salita lang at hindi mo naman ginagawa? Kagaya nga po, ma'am, kagaya nyo po, kami po ay sunod sa inyo. Pag sinabi nyo pong 7:37, nandun po kami. Kasi po, kayo po ang leader namin. Kayo po ay nagbibigay ng example sa amin na kapag dumating si alas 7 o 7:30, sadyang nandun po kayo. Ibig sabihin, hindi po kami lang at talagang po kayo ay mas maaga pa sa amin. Ibig sabihin, kami po ay susunod kung ang ipinapakita po ninyo ay ganon kaganda. Maganda naman po ang inyong motibo na yung pagiging maaga natin. At lahat po, natutuwa rin po ako dahil pag sinabi pong report, walang dahilan pa, po, maganda po yun. At yun po ay nasa leader. 6. Create a reward program for staff members. Publicly recognize the achievements and milestones of each team member. When employees feel as though their accomplishments are appreciated, they are more likely to work towards new goals and achievements. Di po ba? Kapag ang isang goals ay na-achieve natin and then na-recognize na tayong pinagpagura natin, yung sakripisyong ginawa natin, hanap pa tayo ng mas maganda pa na goal, new goal, para atin uling maabot or makamit. Having a reward program in place helps motivate employees toward reaching individual and team objectives. Even a simple thank you to staff members for their efforts is a way to show appreciation and encourage employees to continue to do their best. Sabi nga po, as a simple thank you. Napakaliit na salita or napakaikling salita pero napakahalaga. Pagsasabi po natin ng thank you. Change how you approach your work. Becoming an effective leader is a skill that needs to be practiced daily. One way to start the process of becoming a leader and being recognized as someone with strong leadership behavior is to change the way you think. People who wish to become leaders should redefine their job duties. Consider what you could do in addition to your typical tasks to help your team, department, or organization The goal is to be proactive with your work and find a way to contribute meaningfully. Change how you approach your work. Broaden your connection by networking with employees outside of your group, peers outside of your organization, or people in different industries. Pwede kang magkaroon ng connection or magkaroon ka ng mga idea kung ano man ang maging problema, ano ba ang magkaroon ka ng connection sa iba pang mga or company o para mas madala mo yon sa iyong pamumuno. Makakuha ka sa kanila ng mga aral. At the same time, maibahagi mo rin sa iyong mga nasasakupan or sa iyong mga subordinates. Give yourself a bigger perspective to stimulate creative and strategic solutions. Then, this can strengthen your problem-solving skills and the ability to come up with innovative new methods. Kailangan din ng mga connections natin, hindi lang sa buong company. Dapat, hindi lang sa isang organization, magkaroon ka rin ng connection sa iba pang mga group or organization. Change how you approach your work. To begin to implement this new behavior, start with just 2 actions you can do that will display leadership. For example, you could notice and recognize the achievements of your peers or any staff members that you supervise and provide positive and objective feedback on how to improve. Dapat na malaking bagay talaga yung pagbibigay natin ng positive feedback. Actively focus on to leadership behavior until they come naturally to you. Kung hindi mo ginagawa yung laging pagsasabi ng thank you, pagpupuri mo lagi na okay, good job, ganyan. Kapag ginawa mo na ang ginawa yung isang bagay, magiging habit mo na yan. Magiging habit mo at wala namang problema dahil yan naman ay maganda. Then identify 2 more leadership behavior, incorporate them into your daily routine until they become a natural part of your leadership style. 8. Address potential issues before they become problems. Okay, by closely monitoring to your staff, you will be able to notice areas that have the potential to develop into a problem. If there is a lag in productivity, for example, you will recognize the issue and be able to take corrective action before it becomes a larger problem. Talaga naman. Dahil bago pa maging problema, ay may nakikita ka ng maliit na issue, gawa na agad ng paraan para hindi na lumaki pa. Ano po? Talagang lagi ka rin nakamasid sa ginagawa ng iyong mga kasamahan. Hindi porket ay leader ka, ay nadun ka lang halimbawa sa iyong opisina, wala ka nang pakialam sa mga tao mo. Titingnan mo rin ano ba ang mga nagiging issue at bago siya maging problema, gawin na agad ng mas maaga pa at maagapan pa ang magiging problema. Pay attention to the needs of individual employees and try to meet them. In addition to monitoring your team members for potential issues, you can also note what their individual needs are. Ano ba pangailangan ng aking mga tauhan? Some people may work better with minimal supervision, while others may find they work best when presented with a challenging variety of tasks. Siyempre, dapat alam natin yung kahinaan, kalakasan ng ating mga kasamahan. Kung saan siya magaling, doon mo siya ilagay. Kung mahina siya doon, pwede mo siyang isama sa malakas din para matuto siya. At least alam natin kung ano ang kahinaan nila at kalakasan. When you know that each individual's needs, you can try to meet those needs and gain the respect of your team. This can improve motivation and job satisfaction. Hindi porket mahina ay hindi na natin favorite. Ano po? At tulungan natin, try natin kung mahina siya sa ganitong bagay, isip bilang isang leader, ikaw ang mag-iisip, paano ko matutulungan ang batang ito? Mahina ito sa ganito. Ano ang dapat kong gawin? Hindi porket mahina siya, hayaan mo na lang siya, bahala siya sa buhay niya. Hindi ganun, ano po. 10, encourage creativity by keeping lines of communication open. Allow and encourage people to approach you with their ideas. Yes. Are likely to hear creative solution from them. Siyempre, sila yung nakaranas, kung meron silang ibang suggestion o kung ano man ang improvement na gusto nila, bilang ikaw ay leader, sasabihin nila sa'yo, at tiyak na sa kanila rin magmumula ang creative solutions. Kasi sila yung nasa field, sila yung nasa work environment. For example, someone may have a suggestion on how to make a task more efficient. Dahil nga sila yung nakaranas, nasa field, sila ang makakapag-suggest ng mas higit pang mabis yung mga paraan or efficient ways kumpara doon sa dati. At doon po pala nagtatapos ang aking report. Maraming salamat po sa inyong pakikinig. God bless po.
Okay, thank you, ma'am, for your topic, Ma'am Catherine Alday, for your topic about the leadership behavior. Okay, so ang pinag-uusapan natin, how to become a good leader. At ang isang behavior ng leader ay be honest. Kailangan maging honest ang leader. Pag sinabi ko nga namang 7:30, because one way of being honest, one good example of being honest is putting the right time doon sa daily time record natin. Yun ay isang example na honest tayo. Kung anong oras tayo dumating, yun ang ilagay ninyo. Kung 7:30 kayo dumating, even though you have a class at 7 o'clock, na wala pa kayo. Sabi ko nga, especially sa time. Pag sinabi nating 7:30, pero wag kayong may stress, ay 7:05 pa lamang, ay meron na kaming link. No, sige. But we will start our online class at 7:30. Kasi yun talaga, pag sa oras, kailangan ako ay tama lagi ang oras ko. Kahit sa pagpasok sa IB, nagre-report po kami every Tuesday. Ay dumarating ako 7:15, 7:05, umaalis po ako dito sa Lemery, 6 o'clock, nagbabantay ako ng van doon sa bantayan doon. Basta 7:05, 7:15, nandun na po ako sa school. Okay, kasi ako ay particular sa time. Sabi pa dyan, be open when it comes to communication. Ang leader o ang teacher, wag sarado ang komunikasyon. Ang batay magtatanong, ay hindi, bahala ka, hindi ka nakikinig. That's not the correct attitude of a teacher. Ganon din ang principal o school head. Merong hindi naintindihan ng teacher. Sarado na, hindi na nag-i-entertain ang principal ng komunikasyon. Wala na. Bahala ka na. Kung naintindihan mo o hindi, it's up to you. Another thing na diniscuss ng ating reporter ay giving rewards. Even a small things, sabi nga niya, even a simple things, thank you. Okay, maganda na yun. Pasalamatan ako ng principal ko. It means that I do my best. I did my job well. Kasi ako ay kinongratulate ng teacher, ng principal. Sinabi sa akin, thank you. Okay. Hindi yung principal, ay, basta ako yung principal, bahala kayo. Nanalo man sa contest si teacher, naging first o naging second, nung dumating, wala. Hindi man lamang kinongratulate, hoy, teacher A, congratulations, ang galing ng bata natin. Okay, next time, dapat makuha natin ang first. Yung ganon. Ganon din kayo sa bata. Laging sinasabi ko sa bata. Gayon din kayo sa bata. A-attend kayo ng contest. Sa umaga, sige, during flag ceremony, sabi sa mga co-teachers o sa principal, ma'am, naku si pupil A po, nag-top sa MTAP. O nag-top po sa contest natin sa school paper. Pwede po ba nating bigyan siya ng isang rewards o masabi man lang diyan sa flag ceremony na si pupil A at si pupil B ay nanalo sa contest natin. Napakalaking bagay na iyon, mga kasama kong guro. Napakalaking bagay na dapat taglayin ng isang leader o isang administrator at isang teacher. Laging sinasabi ko ay teacher because I am a teacher. Hindi na po ako district supervisor, ako po retired na. Kaya laging teacher kasi lagi ang kaharap ko ay teacher at mga bata kasi nagtuturo pa ako ng college sa Nasugbu. At ako'y college din pa doon. Kaya lagi kong sinasabi ang teacher, ang kahalagahan ng teacher at kahalagahan ng bata. Para kayo maging epektibo. Sabi, lead by example. Yes. Hindi yung sinasabi nyo, iba sa inyong ipinagagawa. Sasabihin ninyo, meron bang ganun leader? Iba naman ang sinasabi sa amin Tapos iba naman ang pinagagawa. Sabi nga ni Ma'am Camille at saka ni Ma'am Catherine, lead by example. You are a leader. Be a leader. Be a good example. Lagi kong sinasabi din, paulit-ulit, be a good example to your subordinates or to your pupils. So those are the things that you should consider on how to become